My name is Damon De La Cruz. I'm the Funeral Service Education Program Coordinator at American River College. I've been a licensed embalmer and funeral director for over 20 years. The program covers every aspect of working in a funeral home that the student will encounter, from merchandising to management, business law, funeral law, embalming, chemistry, really every subject, every discipline.
When I was first interested in the program and I actually looked at the curriculum, I was amazed by how many facets that this program actually covers. From the law to the anatomy and the physiology to the hands-on practice.
There's only 2 schools in California that offer this program, Sacramento and one in LA. So it's really exciting for me. It's really rewarding because I am coming from Brentwood, so it's like an hour-and-a-half drive, but it's worth it.
It's an Associate of Science degree, and it can be completed in either 2 years or 1 year, depending on whatever works best for the student. In our program, we have a merchandising center. We also have a mock prep room, and we work very closely with the funeral homes in the community, often go on field trips to witness services and to work with funeral directors. Our merchandising center that we have in our classroom is very similar to what a student might encounter in the field.
The items that you see behind me are going to be the items that you find in any average funeral home. We cover all beliefs. There's memory books, there's caskets of different sizes, different constructions.
Because the death experience can be a traumatic event in someone's life, that transition can be very challenging. Our students will have classes in psychology of death and dying. They will also have classes in counseling, so when they meet with families, they're prepared to help those families through those transitions.
Most of the students have little or no exposure to the funeral industry. So I'm constantly trying to help them, and usually because of my experience working in the industry and working in the coroner's office, we're dealing with the funeral homes all the time. I'm able to give them, some real personal examples of what can go wrong. For instance, as an embalmer, as my years of embalming, I gave them some examples of some of the mistakes I made as an embalmer.
Professor Smith, he has a lot of experience. So he's been a coroner. He has worked in the funeral industry, so he was an embalmer, he was a funeral director. He's done a lot. So we're really focusing on the funeral director. But I know in our second year, because I'm only in my first year, that's when they really get into the hands-on restorative art. And that's what I'm looking forward to.
In our restorative art class, our students are taught cosmetics and hairstyling, as well as remodeling features as would be necessary. For their final project, students have created some of these model heads off of some celebrities and family members of theirs.
Right now we're reproducing a human head in wax and all the details, and we have to get the proportions right. And so we have to learn how to take measurements and how to reproduce one eye from another or produce various facial features from a photograph.
In our funeral law class, we have mock trials, so that students have firsthand experience at the litigation that they may encounter in a funeral home.
And we're allowed to have a policy, and the owner makes a policy.
Required during a public viewing.
Why is
but at no point did one. So in order to prepare, we're given a case set and they kind of tell you a little bit about it. In our case, it was the funeral home not really taking care of the family properly, and so we were arguing on behalf of the family. We have to look into the laws pertaining to that and what constitutes as legal and what isn't. And then today, we have to put it all together, and we acted as real defendants and plaintiffs.
It does break the law, because you're saying that before you can view the body,
So your last semester, which will be the 4th semester, which is my next semester, you actually intern, which is great. So you're getting real world experience before you even pass the boards, before you even walk out with your associates.
The students go into funeral homes in the community. They work with the funeral directors and licensed embalmers. It gives them work experience. It also helps build their portfolio. And they can actually network with other funeral homes. Very often the internship can turn into a job at the funeral home they're at or somewhere else in the community where they've met a funeral director.
Once you have that, you have your associates, you have your certification, you're a licensed embalmer. You can go into sales, you can go into marketing, you can just be a freelance embalmer, you can be an owner, you can be a funeral director, you can go any place, you can do anything in the industry.
Many of our students find rewards in funeral service and helping families through this transition of loss. It can be very powerful to help a family that walks into your funeral home and says, I don't know what to do, I can't function without this person in my life. And then at the end of the funeral service, they approach you and say, thank you so much for helping me through this time. I could not have done this alone. And many of our students, when they experience that, they get the gravity of what we do as funeral service practitioners.
With this, you're really helping the families. So it's not so much about the deceased, it's more about the people that they're leaving behind. And it's really rewarding to know that you're helping them and you're helping them through that grieving process.
You're helping families when it comes down to it. Even if you're just in the back room doing embalming, if you're the front man, if you're doing arrangements, you get the satisfaction of helping a family.